Good morning.
Good morning, teacher.
Good morning, all of you. Harry. So today we are going to start a new lesson, the fourth unit. Yeah, we have finished the first, second, third, and fifth lessons. Right? So today we are going to start the fifth unit. Hope you all have got the printout. Harry, turn on the videos, Pute, all of you. And there was a request to change the class time today by Sudams, I think. Actually, it was not possible because I had scheduled the classes because I have some other classes as well. Today, I have altogether 5 classes, right? In the morning, I had one. This is the second one. At the end of your class, another one. And from 5 p.m. onwards, I have another 2 sessions, right? Therefore, it's difficult to change the time. And we can't have extra classes in the afternoon, no, because you have the usual classes. Though it is the holidays, you have the usual classes in the afternoon. එනිසා තමයි බැරි වුණේ. So I can share the recording. Today itself I will try to share the recording. හරි. Videos on කරන්න පුතේ. So මෙතුන් අද මේ I shared the same link for the classes in the morning. අපේ මෙතුන් හිටිය 8 ඉඳන් waiting room එකේ. I was doing the other class then. මෙතුන් oh එදා අපේ කොමිත හිටිය නේද කලින්. කොමිත කලින් join වෙලා හිටිය එදා. අද මෙතුන් හිටියා. මෙතුන්ට මම message එකකුත් යවුවා that the class okay තෙනුක starts at 9:30 කියලා. හරි. So this is the fourth unit. We are going to discuss about properties of matter. This is somewhat a lengthy unit, right? Properties of matter. Not like the other lessons we did. This is somewhat lengthy. We have only 5 lessons for the first term, right? So, and I have mentioned the assessment dates as well. You will have the assessment. The written assessment will be on the 28th, right? 28th of February. And in between, you will have even sometimes maybe after that or before that, you will have an online assessment as well, right? Hari. So, can you remember now we have learned about matter several times, right? So, can you remember in grade 6 we divided the things around us into 2 categories? Yes, matter and energy. The things that occupy space and having a mass are known as matter. Having a mass and occupying space. Then energy means energy does not occupy space as well as does not have a mass. Hari neda matakai ne? Then based on the physical state, we divided matter into 3 categories. Another. Yes. What are the 3 states of matter? Solids, liquids, and gases, right? And in addition to that, in this lesson, you will learn how to classify matter based on the composition as well. Based on the physical state, we divide as solids, liquids, and gases. And based on the composition, matter can be divided in some other way. And grade 9 third unit. Yes, grade 9 third unit is also based on matter. So yesterday we did that part. We are basically considering the chemical composition, right? We classified matter based on the chemical composition. So you can learn it next year in detail. හැබැයි මේකත් එක්ක ලොකු connection එකක් තියෙනවා ඒ lesson එකේ. Right? And in grade 10 also, once again, we are learning about matter, the chemical compounds, especially in detail. Grade 10 also third unit. Grade 8 fourth unit, grade 9 third unit, grade 10 third unit. Right? එනිසා these are related. හරිද? ඔයගොල්ලෝ දැන් grade 6 එකක් combine වුණා මෙතෙන්ට. නේද? The knowledge is continued. You can't forget this and go to the next grade. These are continued, right? The environment around us is composed of matter and energy. Classify and tabulate the following items as matter and energy. Okay, do it. So here I have given hari isal make karannuko. Yes, Ovini. Other presentations on in a ham because I gave it 2 days ago. No, I have given for Tenukan Sudamsa. The Sudamsa and the Sudamsa when a class is not here. Okay, Ovini. Hari. Right. So, what did you write under matter? Yes. AI is mentioned. Then, yes. क्या कहल क्या? Water, water, ball, bulb, table, chair, magnet. Hari. These are matter. Then energy, light energy, sound energy, electrical energy, heat energy, or the thermal energy. Right? Hari. Things that occupy space and having a mass are known as matter. නෝක දැන් හොඳට හිතේ ලියවිලානේ තියෙන්නේ. Things that occupy space and having a mass are known as matter. So you can write any example. Air, nothing gases, liquids, water, milk, ink, whatever a liquid that you like. Then solids, soil, sand, likewise any solid material. Then things that do not occupy space and having no mass, do not occupy space and have no mass are considered to be energy. Energy. So as energy you can say light energy, heat or thermal energy, light, heat, or we call it as thermal energy. Sound, sound energy. Then what else? Yes, electrical energy, electrical energy. Yes, what else? Mechanical energy, what we call as kinetic energy and potential energy. Mechanical energy. Likewise, there are different forms of energy. දැන් මතකද ඔයගොල්ලෝ In grade 6, you have learned about the sources of energy. The sun as a source of energy, geothermal energy, uh, biomass, energy of flowing water, energy of wind, nuclear energy. Likewise, you have learned about the sources of energy in grade 6. Here, in grade 7, you have learned about the forms of energy like this: light, heat, sound, electrical energy, mechanical energy, the forms of energy. These are two different things, right? Sources of energy and forms of energy, right? Two different things. Hari. Hari neda? Then the discontinuous nature of matter. That is something new that you are going to learn here. Discontinuous nature of matter. So now you know how science and technology has been evolved, right? Uh, so certain scientists have invented certain facts or things, and after that, a number of scientists have conducted experiments on them. They have researched on them in order to prove, either to prove and accept or to eliminate those facts that they had found out, right? So likewise, now at this moment also, some of the theories, they have been proved further, some are removed. Since we can't agree with those concepts at present. That is how science and technology evolve, right? So here certain evidences were presented by two philosophers, Greek philosopher Democritus. He had mentioned matter is made of very small particles. Democritus had mentioned that matter is made out of very small particles. Then Greek philosopher Aristotle had mentioned matter is not composed of particles. Aristotle had mentioned matter does not consist of particles, right? And there had been an argument, a debate in between these two, and one theory was accepted. You can decide, you can just assume what was accepted. Whose one? Democritus' theory or Aristotle's theory? Yes, Democritus' idea was accepted, right? The status that matter exists as a collection of particles with spaces among them is known as the discontinuous nature or particulate nature of matter. That means, now if the matter consists of particles, later on we will draw how the particles are arranged in the three states of matter: solids, liquids and gases separately. For the moment, I will just draw like this. So the matter consists of particles. Then there are spaces among the particles, right? There are spaces among the particles, right? Like something like this. Matter exists as a collection of particles. Matter exists as a collection of particles with spaces among them. Here you can see that there are spaces among those particles. Spaces among them. This is known as the discontinuous nature or the particulate nature of matter. Now we are going to present certain activities or experiments to prove this, right? Here it says, according to the physical nature, matter can be classified into solids, liquids and gases according to the physical nature. Liquids and gases. Solids, liquids and gases according to the physical nature, we can classify the matter like this. Hari. So as the first activity, you are asked to take a piece of chalk. Chalk is not that crayon type one. The ones which are used to write on the white, blackboards or the green boards. ඒ chalk දන්නවනේ. දැන් ගොඩක් schools වලත් use වෙන්නේ marker pens නේ. White boards and marker pens නේ. ඒතර නම් පාවිච්චි කළේ මේ chalk තමයි. On the white, there were no white boards then. Blackboard and then the green board. Then the blackboards ගොඩක් වෙලාවට. Piece of chalk and break it into two pieces. Break one of those pieces again into two pieces, right? Likewise, break the pieces you get successively till you obtain the smallest possible particle. පුළුවන් නේ? ඔයගොල්ලෝ නම් කරයි දුන්නොත්. You have to break a piece of chalk into small pieces again and again until you obtain the smallest possible particle. But still, it is known as a piece of chalk. You don't give any other name, no? It is a piece of chalk, right? The smallest piece of chalk that we obtain like this without changing the properties of chalk is called a මොකක්ද අපිට කියන්න පුළුවන්? We can say it is a chalk particle, right? We can call it as a chalk particle. Chalk particle. Okay. Again, you have the chalk here. You break it into two pieces, right? Then you take one piece out of it, break it into another two, right? The other part to one part. Likewise, you divide it into tiny pieces. The smallest possible particle that you obtain is known as the chalk particle, right? There are spaces among those particles. Then අපි දන්නවා there are particles කියලා. How to show that there are spaces among these particles? The next activity is for that. To show that there are spaces among the particles. Yes, please keep your videos on. අද නම් 9:30 පටන් ගත්ත නිසා හැමෝම කලින් නැගිටලා ඉන්න ඇතිනේ. තාම බෙඩ් ටී එක එන අය නෑනේ මේ වෙලාවේ. නේද? හරි. Shall we move on then? Hari. Discontinuous nature of solid matter. You need a container of water and a watch glass, blue or red ink, a few crystals of potassium permanganate, you know, condis. Potassium permanganate is condis, right? A piece of white chalk. Now here within brackets you can say condis, right? Potassium permanganate or condis. Potassium permanganate is the chemical name. Generally, we call it as condis. Add a small amount of blue or red ink or potassium permanganate solution. So, what is the color of potassium permanganate solution? Yes, what's the color? Yes? Purple color. I will show you if you haven't seen. So, you use that red or blue ink or potassium permanganate to color the water. Here they have used red ink. Take a piece of chalk and place one end of it in ink or the solution. Record your observation. So here this is the watch glass, right? Watch glass with red ink. So what would you observe? You will be able to see that this red ink moves upwards. The red ink moves upwards along the chalk, piece of chalk. Right, like this. It will move up. Why? Why the ink is able to move up along the piece of chalk? Ink is also matter. It occupies space. So the ink is able to climb up along the piece of chalk because of Yes, because of the presence of spaces among the particles of chalk. Ink is also a matter. It is in the liquid state. It also occupies space. The chalk is made out of chalk particles, as we mentioned earlier. So the ink is possible to move upwards. The ink is able to move upwards along the piece of chalk since there are spaces among the particles of chalk. Isn't it? Do you agree? There are spaces among the particles of chalk. That is what we call as the particulate nature or the discontinuous nature of matter. Right? Matter consists of particles and there are spaces among the particles. Okay? Hmm. The ink is able to move up because the piece of chalk is, yes, because the piece of chalk is what? What can you say? It is discontinuous. It is not continuous. They are continuous, no? There cannot be any spaces, no? It is discontinuous. Since the chalk is discontinuous, ink is able to climb up. It is because the piece of chalk consists of large number of very small particles, each with the properties of chalk. Even the smallest possible particle is known as a piece of chalk particle, and a large number of spaces through which the colored particles can move. The colored particles were able to move since there were spaces. This is number one. There are particles and spaces. So this activity confirms that the what does it confirm? Yes, that's the chalk is discontinuous. Chalk represents solid matter. And solids are discontinuous. Right? This activity confirms that solid matter is discontinuous. Solid matter is discontinuous. I will show you certain activities. So the absentees who are watching the recording, they have to watch the Zoom recording, right? Because the videos that we watch in the class are not visible in the YouTube recording. YouTube recording එක බැලුවොත් අපි class එකේ බලපු videos පේන්නේ නැහැ. එනිසා the absentees can watch the Zoom recording. There is one more activity. Then after that, I will show you the video. Then may take the concepts into your mind carefully. But hari lazy. We are meeting once again on the Saturday, right?
Excuse me, teacher.
Yes, Tenuka.
There is no short letter discontinuous.
Solid matter is discontinuous. That is what we this activity ඕනේ discontinuous කියලා මම ලියලා තියෙන්නේ continuous කියලා. Sorry. Thank you, Tenuka. I was telling that it is discontinuous. This activity confirms that solid matter is discontinuous. You have to maintain the mindfulness skill again. I also lost that. Discontinuous. Discontinuous nature of solids. Harida. Then the second one. You know mercury. What is mercury? Mercury is a what? Metal. Yes, mercury is a metal which exists in which state? Liquid state. Most of the metals exist in solid state, but mercury is a metal which exists in the liquid state. Hari. So, when mercury comes into contact with items made of gold, we will be able to observe the mercury particles in the item of gold. Right? The mercury particles. Is it okay if you can teach that part again? That discontinuous part. Okay. හරි දැන් ඉස්සෙල්ලාම අපි කිව්වේ the we take the chalk and in the previous activity when we break the chalk into pieces we obtain the smallest possible particle and we called it as a chalk particle, right? That confirms that the solid matter is made out of particles. Then we needed to show that there are spaces among these particles. Then හිතන්න මෙහෙම then there is a box, cardboard box. Harida, you have filled that cardboard box with oranges. ලස්සනට අහුරලා තියෙනවා. You have arranged the oranges nicely in an order, right? You have filled 50 oranges into that. Then you have to close the box, right? You can't put any more. You can't put any more. Harida, any more oranges. But if you are asked to put some sand into the spaces in between the oranges, is that possible? වැලි ටිකක් දාන්න පුළුවන්ද ඒක අස්සට? පුළුවන් නේද? Why? You are able to put some sand in between the oranges because there had been certain spaces. අන්න ඒ වගේ. Here, the chalk is made out of particles and the ink was able to climb up through the piece of chalk since there were spaces among these particles. ඉඩ තිබුණ නැත්තම් දාන්න බෑනේ. නේද? If there were no spaces, ink is not possible to climb up. Right? Ink climbed up, ink moved along the piece of chalk since there were spaces among the particles. Is that clear, Chanudri? Okay. Hari. Now I was mentioning about mercury. When mercury comes in contact with gold, actually the value of gold reduces. Why? The mercury particles move in between the gold particles, right? It makes gold amalgam. The reason for this is the movement of mercury particles through the gold particles because gold is, what should come for the blank? Gold is, yes. Oh, discontinuous. Very good. Gold is discontinuous. Gold is discontinuous. That is why the mercury was able to climb up. Climb up mercury particles were able to move in between the gold particles because of the discontinuous nature of gold. Gold is discontinuous. Because of this, when gold objects come into contact with mercury, they get damaged, right? Gold items, they lose their value when they come in contact with mercury. Right. දැන් අපි යමු වීඩියෝ එකක් බලලෙමු.
Can't trust your AI results.
Hari. Take the ink out with the help of a syringe. Put some ink onto the lid. Then add some water as well. Immerse the chalk. You can see how this is a fast mode, right? It does not pass that much faster, but gradually it moves up. That is because of the discontinuous nature of solid chalk. Then I will show you the next activity to show the discontinuous nature of liquids, right? Liquid matter. For that we are using potassium permanganate. Right, I will show that as well. I will share two for that. So potassium permanganate is very dark purple solid material, right? Here in this bottle you have potassium permanganate. So when you are observing certain things, it's better to have a white background rather than these dark backgrounds. I will show you another one. It's too dark. Hmm. So once you put this potassium permanganate in the solid form, you can see gradually how the purple color spreads. So this is the purple color spreads among water since water is discontinuous, right? Since water is discontinuous, the purple color spreads. Here once you put the ink droplet, the color spreads throughout water since water is discontinuous, right? හරි මම මේක හොඳට පේන එකක් පෙන්නන්නම්. It's too dark. Also, but it is too lengthy. I will just drag and show you. So here you can see potassium permanganate එකක් කළු පාටත් වගේ තද දම් පාටක් තියෙන්නේ. A dark purple. You can do this at home, and you can buy I think from pharmacies or sometimes even in the indigenous medicine shops. සිංහල බෙහෙත් බඩු තියෙන කඩවලත් සමහර විට තියෙන්න පුළුවන් potassium permanganate. නැත්නම් you can try with some ink, right? එහෙම නැත්නම් that uh, the blue that we use to apply on white clothing, blue liquid එක තියෙන්නේ දැන් ඉස්සර නම් තිබුණා blue powder එකක්. And you can try with those as well. මොකද වෙන්නේ බලන්න. That purple color spreads gradually. Spreads gradually, that is because of the discontinuous nature of liquid. Takes time. Gradually the purple color spreads throughout. Another. The color spreads gradually since there are particles, since there are spaces among the water particles. Since there are spaces among the water particles, the color spreads gradually. There are number of activities. Same activity. There they added it from the top. හරි නේද? The same thing happens. That is because of the discontinuous nature of liquids. The potassium permanganate particles were able to move up among the water particles since there were spaces in between the water particles. Then, can we see this in gases? Would we be able to see this in gases? The discontinuous nature of gases. Yes, what do you think? Yes. පුළුවන් වෙයිද බලා ගන්න? Yes or no? Why, Tenuka? Yes, Tenuka, what is the reason? We can't see the gases. Most of the gases do not have a color, but we can see the smoke. There are smoke is also, smoke contains gas particles, and there may be some other particulate matter as well. And there is a colorful gas, that is nitrogen dioxide. Even chlorine has a color, but we are not using chlorine. Nitrogen dioxide is a gas which has a reddish brown color, right? Red brown color is there for, actually more or less brown, right? So we can see that gas. So we can do an activity using that nitrogen dioxide gas. Now I am sharing that one. I have a closer look. After that, we will discuss both about liquids and gases.
Out into the atmosphere. It's carried by wind. It's overboard by process gases behave particles in a gas and why a gas operates to diffusion has bromine, which color. Place a jar of bromine right, bring up the tube against gravity. Over time, gases half an hour with contain. It takes time. Bromine cells and no air for bromine to bump in. All the air has been removed from this apparatus, apart from the flask containing bromine, which is isolated by a tap. Open the and it spreads immediately. Watch again. In a vacuum, there's no air to collide with. Bromine to much faster. Slow the diffusion. It takes several minutes. This simple rate of
Yeah, they have used bromine as well as one. They have nitrogen dioxide. So one gas jar contains that bromine gas, and another one containing nitrogen dioxide. So they cover this gas jar with another one. Another gas jar which did not contain either bromine or nitrogen dioxide. Then able to see that the Brown color gradually spreads among both cylinders. Brown color gradually spreads among both cylinders. So what does it mean? In this one, this gas jar contains normal air, right? Since there were particles, since there were spaces among the gas particles in this one, bromine particles were able to move, right? That proves the discontinuous nature of air, isn't it? That proves the discontinuous nature of air. Okay, let's see.
Hydrogen dioxide left, delivering bromine here. The lighter hydrogen dioxide. We can also compare rates of other gases. Ammonia, hydrogen chloride gas, colorless, but when they meet, a white cloud of ammonium chloride forms. A piece of cotton wool soaked in concentrated ammonia provides ammonia gas. Concentrated hydrochloric acid provides hydrogen chloride gas. Take the two pieces of cotton wool and tube. The gases spread out. At the speed at which they approach each other, they're looking at a cloud of ammonium chloride. After less than a minute, a white ring begins to form, marking where the gases meet. The white solid is closer to the hydrogen chloride end of the tube, to the right. Which gas has traveled? Another way of wondering the progress of gases is to run a PV indicator from the tube. Hydrogen chloride gas red. It turns. It is a note. So you can see how the gases mix together. Gases mix together because of the discontinuous nature of gases. හරි නේද? ඔන්න දැන් we observed related to solids, liquids and gases. All three states of matter we make the observation. Now we will discuss the rest of the things. Continue. Take a volume and divide portion. Form you can and divide one of the portions. So you divide one half again, right? Get the smallest possible volume. Smallest volume of the property of the water particle. Particle. I do the oh, volume. Huh? Okay. දැන් ඇහෙනවද දේවසික? හරි, okay. So you divide a portion of water until you obtain the smallest possible volume, that can be called as a water particle. Hence water is formed by the assembling of
large number of water particles with one another, particulate nature, right? Then we need to show that it is discontinuous. For that, to study the discontinuous nature of liquid matter, you need a watch glass, a beaker with water, potassium permanganate or colored ink. Fill a beaker in half with water and put a crystal of potassium permanganate into it. So you made the observations in the video, right? Then shake the water in the beaker gently. Then state the observation. So you will be able to see the gradual spread of purple color among the water particles through water. Add a drop of colored ink into the beaker containing water. There, from the top, you will be able to see the spreading of color because the ink is added from the top, no? Right. Record the observation. So you can write the observation. The color spreads gradually. The color spreads gradually through water. So can conclude that it happens because the potassium permanganate particles move into spaces among the water particles, right? When a drop of ink is added to a beaker of water, the water gradually becomes colored due to the movement of ink particles among the water particles, right? Ink particles among the water particles. It is clear that liquid matter also has a particulate nature and also the discontinuous nature. Discontinuous nature. Fill in the blank by using discontinuous nature. Right? Before we move on to the next part, if you want, you can have a little break, 2-minute break, and come back quickly. videos. Think the break is enough, neither. Yes, turn on the videos. Shanudri asks whether we are doing a paper today. We will discuss some more, and we have question papers as well. So your written assessment date I mentioned, right? The questions ටිකකුත් කතා කරමු. හරි. තව ඉන්නවා videos on වෙලා නැතිය. Yes, හසින්දු යුගීත් යනුලි සෙනුල්යා හරි. යනුලි. Okay. Discontinuous nature of gaseous matter, gases. The discontinuous nature of gases. You need two gas jars. Nitrogen dioxide gas, which has a brown color as you saw. Just stick a few drops of perfume. Fill a gas jar with brown colored nitrogen dioxide gas and close it with another gas jar. Record your observations after 2 minutes. Do this as a teacher demonstration because it is inhale. Then you can light a joss stick. Place some perfume in a watch glass and leave for some time. You know that. So the smell of the joss stick or the smell of the perfume spreads throughout, isn't it? Gradually. And when you are traveling close to a garbage truck in an open vehicle, you know how the smell spreads, right? So that is because this is because of the discontinuous nature of gaseous matter කියලා. නේද? අමෝ කියලා නහය වහගන්න කමන්නේ. ඒ ගමම හිතන්න ඕනේ this is because of the discontinuous nature of gaseous matter. When someone is peeling a mandarin or an orange, we can feel the smell, right? That is because of the discontinuous nature of gaseous matter, right? So we call this method of passing of the particles, spreading of the particles as diffusion. අපි ඒක ගැනත් කතා කරමු ඉස්සරහට in a coming lesson, right? For the moment, we are learning about the particulate matter and the discontinuous nature of matter. When a gas jar is filled with brown nitrogen dioxide gas, an invert gas jar containing air is placed over it. Mixing of the two gases can be observed. So the nitrogen dioxide particles were able to move through the normal air particles and vice versa. The reason for this movement of the nitrogen dioxide particles is the existence of spaces among the air particles. The scent of the lighted joss stick spreads throughout the classroom. The smell of the perfume diffuses across the classroom. The reason is air is made out of particles. Air consists of particles and there are spaces among the particles. Therefore, we can conclude gaseous matter too is particulate in nature. Right? You can write the reason. Air consists of particles. Air consists of particles. Air consists of particles. Air consists of particles. And there are spaces among these particles. There are spaces among these particles. Right? හරි. So our conclusion from all the above activities is that what? All matter, solids, liquids or gases, is composed of particles and there are spaces among those particles, right? Matter is discontinuous. Discontinuous. Matter is discontinuous. Matter is discontinuous. You can highlight or underline. Okay. Hari. Then we are going to compare the arrangement of particles in the three states of matter. Now, there are three states. Why are there three states? Because it is not a single state. There are differences among these. That is why we have identified three states of matter. So, what is the reason for the variation of the specific characteristics of three states of matter? When we take a solid, think of a brick. It has a specific volume and it has a shape as well, right? But it does not have the ability to flow, right? But when we take some water, water does not have a specific shape. It takes the shape of the occupied part of the container. Then it has a specific volume. It has a specific volume, but it does not have a specific shape. And it has the ability to flow, not like a solid. There is a difference. When we consider a gas, it does not have a specific volume. We can blow air into a balloon. If we blow little amount of air, then it will take a particular shape. If we fill some more air, the shape will be changed, right? So it does not have a specific shape as well as a specific volume. For example, the gas inside a gas cylinder. Um, so it has occupied the space inside the cylinder. Actually, it is a very compressed gas. It is a liquid state. That is why we call it as LP gas, liquid petroleum. But if there is a leakage, what happens? That gas can spread throughout the house, right? We think of the smoke of a joss stick. The smoke of the joss stick is capable of filling the whole room. Right? That means it does not have a specific volume. Neither. If we had covered the joss stick with a gas cylinder leak something dangerous. Right? You have lighted a joss stick here. Right? So the smoke is coming out. You have covered it with a basket like this. Then the smoke will be filled inside. Because of the limitation of oxygen. Then you remove this basket. Earlier the basket was filled with the smoke. Once you remove the basket, what happens? The smoke gets spread throughout this closed room. Right? The smoke spreads throughout this closed room gradually. And it does not have a specific volume. It has the ability to flow. So these variations among the three states of matter have occurred because of the differences in the arrangement of particles in the three states of matter. Right? Because of the difference in the arrangement of particles. Then solid it is very hard. The density is high. But a liquid is not like that. When it comes to a gas, it is totally different. That is because of the difference in the arrangement of particles in the three states of matter. Right? Because of the difference in the organization of particles. So you can write the reason. What is the reason for the variation of specific characteristics of the three states of matter? That is because of the variation in the organization of particles. Organization of particles or the arrangement of particles in the three states of matter. Three states of matter. Right? Organization of particles in the three states of matter. After 20, from 28th onwards, actually, I am concentrating more on your assessment part, right? එතකොට questions එකටම කතා කරගෙන ගිය හැකි once we finish this lesson, that is all for the first term. ඒ නිසා අපි questions කතා කරන ගමන් අපිට වෙලා තිබුණොත් we can start the second term first unit as well. හරි. Now I will show you the difference in the organization of particles in the three states of matter. So can we see those particles with our naked eye? පේනවද? Hmm? Yes. Can we see the particles of matter with our naked eyes? Can we? Huh? No, we can't see these with our naked eyes. Actually, we have to make use of an electron microscope to see these. Hari, I will show you two videos related to the arrangement of particles in the three states of matter. හොඳට කල්පනාවෙන් බලන්න වෙන වැඩ කරන්න නෙවෙයි වීඩියෝ එක පෙන්වන වෙලාවට හොඳ අවධානයෙන් බලන්න පුතේ. දැන් ඔයගලන්ට පාඩම් කරන්න තමයි මම මේ කාලේ දීලා තියෙන්නේ පාඩම් කරගන්න all the 5 lessons.
You know what water, air, and rocks all have in common? They are made of matter. Matter is something that takes up space. Now, you might be wondering why they all look so different if they are made of the same thing. But the truth is that everything around you is made of matter, just in different shapes and forms. Matter is made of tiny particles called atoms. Matter can be grouped into three main states: solid, liquid, or gas. To figure out which state of matter something is in, we need to examine its properties. A property is the way that something is that we can measure. The physical properties we will look at to determine state of matter are shape, mass, and volume. Mass is the amount of matter in an object. Volume is how much space that matter takes up. Solids are easy to recognize. Rocks, apples, pencils, and plants are all examples of solid objects. A solid object has a definite shape that doesn't change when you move it or put it in a container. They also have a consistent mass and volume. This is because the atoms in a solid object are packed closely together, so they do not move around. A solid will change shape only if forced, for instance, if it is broken or smashed. If you look around, you can find many examples of solid objects. Liquid is the next state of matter. Liquids have a definite volume and mass, but they do not have a definite shape. The atoms in liquid are still close together, but unlike the atoms in a solid, they can move around. This allows the matter in a liquid to flow. Because liquids don't have their own shape, they take their shape from their containers. The same amount of liquid may look very different in a glass and spilled on the floor. You can find examples of liquids around you too. Water, milk, and juice are just some of the liquids you might find. The third state of matter is gas. Gases have a definite mass, but they do not have a definite shape or volume. Like liquids, gases take the shape of their containers. Unlike liquids, gases will spread out to completely fill the container they are in. If a gas is not in a container, it will keep spreading out indefinitely. This is because the atoms in a gas are farther apart than atoms in a solid or a liquid, and so they can move freely. The air you breathe is an example of a gas. You might have noticed that you can't really see air. Often, gases are invisible, but they are still there. There are many different types of gases in the Earth's atmosphere, like oxygen, nitrogen, carbon dioxide, helium, and water vapor. Sometimes matter can change from one state to another. Water is a very good example of this. When water is frozen into ice, it is a solid. When it melts back into water, it is a liquid. When water evaporates into water vapor, it becomes a gas. Matter in all its states is everywhere. See if you can find solids, liquids, and gases around you.
Monster Math presents multiplication.
States of matter. Picture this. It is a hot summer day, and you are drinking a tall, icy glass of soda. Have you ever wondered about the differences between the ice, the soda, and the carbonated bubbles that make the drink fizzy? Today, you're going to learn about something called states of matter and ask you questions along the way. Let's get started with some basics. Matter is anything that has mass, volume, and takes up space. Everything in the universe is made of matter, even humans. When we talk about the states of matter, we mean the different forms in which matter can exist. What is matter? Matter is anything that has mass, volume, and takes up space. The Earth's three most common states of matter are as follows: solid, liquid, and gas. Each state has a different molecular structure that differentiates one from the other. Let's take another look at your glass of soda. The ice cubes are a solid, the soda is a liquid, and the carbonation bubbles are a gas. What are the three most common states of matter? Solid, liquid, and gas. Solids have particles that are tightly bonded and vibrate around fixed axes. They have a definite shape and volume. Liquids have particles that are attracted to each other but are not bonded as tightly. They are free to move over each other. Liquids also take the shape of the container they are in and have a definite volume. Gases have loosely bonded particles that move in a random motion with little or no attraction to each other. They have no definite shape or volume. Which state of matter has particles that are loosely bonded with no definite shape or volume? Gas. Water is kind of special. Can you guess why? The molecular properties of water allow it to exist in all three states of matter. It is the only thing on Earth that can do so naturally. Water is the product of two hydrogen atoms attaching themselves to one oxygen atom. That is why we call it H2O. In nature, the state of water changes constantly because of temperature. In its most common form, water is a liquid, but it can freeze in ice or snow, or change into a gas in the form of condensation or water vapor. Remember, even though water can change its states, its molecular properties remain unchanged. It is H2O as a liquid, solid, and gas. What is the only thing on Earth that can exist naturally in all three states of matter? Water, or H2O. Let's demonstrate the properties of matter together. We have placed a balloon over the opening of a soda bottle and are now going to give it a little shake. Here's what it looks like right after. Here's what it looks like after 5 minutes. And here's what it looks like after 10 minutes. What did you observe? What do you think made the balloon expand? Gas. Now, we are going to tip the soda into the balloon, tie it off, and freeze it. What state of matter is the soda now? It's a solid. What happens if you leave the balloon out on the counter for a while? Now the soda has melted back into a liquid state. What do you observe? And what does this teach you about the state of matter? Thanks for learning with me.
Okay. Hari. Now we will compare the arrangement of the particles in the three states of matter along with their characteristics. Right? Hari. Solid, liquid and gases you are given enough space. So I will show you the table in your textbook. So we can complete that. Right. Then grade 8 1. See. Here you can see the arrangement of the particles in the three states of matter. So you can use a color pencil or a pencil in order to draw this. Don't draw large squares, right? Draw a small square, 3 into 3 like, 3 particles to either side like. Particles are orderly arranged. There is a nice order in the arrangement of the particles. then the particles are strongly bound to each other. They are attached to each other, and particles do not move relative to one another because they don't have enough spaces to move. Right? But they can vibrate in the same position. What do you mean by a vibration? Vibrate means by being in their position, they just vibrate means move across this mean level. They show a vibration, right? They show a vibration. Hari. Then the spaces among the particles is less. As you can see, there are very little amount of spaces, right? Hari. Then when it comes to a liquid, the particles are not orderly arranged like that. Okay? Though the particles are close to one another, the binding forces are not strong as in a solid. Solid ekakage strong bonds ne. The particles can move within the liquid. They are free to move when compared to a solid, right? When compared to a solid, they have the ability to move. The spaces among the particles is less but higher than that of a solid. The spaces are less but that is higher when compared to a solid. First අපි gas එකකට ඇවිල්ලා බලමු. We'll consider the gases and see what's the difference. In a gas, there are more spaces among the particles and the particles are free to move. Right? Hari. You can take down these. ඉස්සලා අඳින්න solid කියන තැන you can draw this and note down the points. Then the liquids. Then I will explain the gases. Draw clearly, right? ඉස්සලකින් ඇඳරම් වැඩිය හොඳයි. Okay, your session starts at 11:30. Mistakenly, I have taken you in. This is grade 8 class, right? දැන් කට්ටිය වීඩියෝස් ඔන් කරගන්න. මොකද ඩිසපියර් වුණේ? බඩගිනි වෙලාද? ආ? මේ තුනන් ලස්සනට hina වෙලා ඉන්න ප්‍රොෆයිල් පික්චර් එකක් දාලා තිනවා. ඉතින් මට පේන්නේ වීඩියෝ එක ඔන් කරලා වගේ. වීඩියෝ එක ඔන් කළාමත් ඒ වගේ. නේද මේ තුන්? Ko Yogit, Senulya, Ayatsen, Vimansa. කට්ටියම දැන් හොඳට පාඩම් කරගන්න නිවාඩු දවස් ටිකේ. බලන්න මේ වෙදිට ස්පෝර්ට්ස් මීට් ඉවරයි. And some whose sports meet are over. Only few of you. That means the others are going to have it after the holidays. එහෙමද? ඒ කියන්නේ තවත් කල් යනවා නේද වැඩ කරන්න. කියලා ඉවර වුණා නම් හොඳයි නේ. නේද සඳරු? සඳරුකට ඉවරයිනේ. යනුකි රුවින්දි නිත්‍යා Nuli, Nulya, Shah, and some those who take part in sports. බලන්න. අනේ මදි. Yes, Anuttara. You can leave and join at 9:30. This is not your session. Your session starts at, sorry, not 9:30, 11:30. ටික දෙනාද ස්පෝර්ට්ස් කරන්නේ මදිනේ. Yes, have you all finished writing about solids and liquids? ස්පෝර්ට්ස් කරන්න ඕනේ අනේ නැත්නම් වයසට ගිහිල්ලා බෑනේ ස්පෝර්ට්ස් කරන්න. නේද? Okay. Studying is not enough, right? You have to balance everything. හරිද? study කරන්නත් ඕනේ. You have to study and engage in the sports as well, right? Sports or any other extracurricular activity, sports are better, right? Sports විතරක් නෙමෙයි, both sports and extracurricular activities along with your academic work. Then only you can have a balanced personality. ඒක අනිවාර්යයෙන්ම කරන්න ඕනේ. දැන් අපි academics වලින් ඉස්සරහට ගියාට අනිත් දේවලුත් ඕනේ. ඒ පැත්තෙනුත් achieve කරන්න ඕනේ. I have seen there are certain students who succeed in both academics as well as in the extracurricular activities or sports. හරි. දැන් ඒගොල්ලන්ට ඉස්සරහට chances උත් වැඩි. හරිද? Why don't you have a sports meet? It is something essential, no, Tasmina. Tasmina, what's your school? Send to the chat. Sasna also says there is no sports meet this year, but it's something compulsory, right? Sports essential. ඔයගොල්ලෝ කරන්න පුතේ ස්පෝර්ට්ස් ස්පෙෂලි ටීම් ගේම්ස් දැන් මං ගත්තොත් මම අර එක පැත්තකින් ගොඩක් ඉහලට කරගන්න එක හොඳයි දැන් in my case I have done almost all the sports at school in හැම එකම ටික ටික හරි කරලා තියෙනවා. ඒ කියන්නේ අර එකකින් ගොඩාක් ඉස්සරහට යනවා නෙමෙයි ස්පෝර්ට්ස් මීට් කාලේට running events high jump long jump ඒවත් කළා. හරිද? කොහොම කරලා තියෙනවා. ඊළඟට මේ I have played cricket. ඊළඟට ඉස්කෝලේ පටන් ගත්ත ඒ කාලේ swimming pools එහෙම තිබ්බේ නෑ ඒ කාලේ right in the school. ඒකටත් යනවා swimming බෑ ඒ නිසා. right එතකොට cricket hockey team එකක් පටන් ගත්තා. ඒකෙත් හිටියා. netball play කරා. හරිද? volleyball කරන්න බැරි වුණා. ඒකට ආසයි හිටියා හැබැයි ඒක බැරි වුණා. නැතුව ගොඩාක් දේවල් කරලා තියෙනවා. බැඩ්මින්ටන් කළා ටික කාලයක්. එහෙම නෙමෙයි ඔයගොල්ලෝ මොකක් හරි එකක් හොඳට කරන්න. හරිද? ඒක හරි වැදගත්. Especially the team games. එතකොට you know how to work as a team, the team spirit. Right? That is something essential when you go for work as well. Right? Then හිතන්නකෝ once you pass out, once you finish your studies, can't finish our studies, but when you go for an occupation or whether it may be your own business or maybe you get the occupation in other company, there you have to work with lot of people. So that is if you haven't taken part in these sports team activities and extracurricular activities, you don't know how to handle the others or how to work with the others, right? Teamwork is also a skill, right? You have to tolerate others ideas, you learn to accept the challenges නේද? දැන් හිතන්නකෝ team game එකක especially team game එකක් හරි මොකක් හරි game එකක ඉන්නවා නම් we have to face challenges in life, right? මොකද ඊළඟ මොහොතේ කරන්න ඕනේ කියලා we have to take quick decisions. ඒක අපි දන්නේම නැතුව it will mold up our lives. හරිද? ඒ නිසා ඒකයි ස්පෝර්ට්ස් කරන්න කියන්නේ. On one hand that will give you a physical exercise. ඊළඟට on the other hand you have to build your personality. අං පොතම පාඩම් කර කර එහෙම ඉඳලා බෑ. පාඩම් කරන්න ඕනේ. ඒකට schedule එකක් තියෙන්න ඕනේ අනිවාර්යයෙන්ම. ඊළඟට ඒත් එක්කම එතකොට දැන් කියන්න එපා මිස් කිව්වා මෙහෙම ස්පෝර්ට්ස් කරන්න කියලා. එතකොට පොත පැත්තකට දාලා ස්පෝර්ට්ස්ම කරන්න නැහැ. දෙකම බැලන්ස් කරගන්න කියලා මම කියන්නේ. හරිද? ඒකත් ඕනේ. To become physically fit as well as to have that personality development part. හරි නැත්නම් ගොඩක් අය දැන් හොඳටම exams වල හොඳටම කරගෙන කොහෙද තැනක job එකකට ගියාම ඊට පස්සේ එතන යාට he or she can't succeed there because they don't know how to work as a team. That is a very big disadvantage, right? Hari. Then in the case of a gas, what happens? Particles are not orderly arranged. There is no any order. Binding forces among the particles are very weak. Bind වෙලා නැති නිසානේ හැමතැනම යන්නේ. In a solid, the binding forces are very strong. That is why the particles are close to each other. But in a gas, the binding forces among the particles are very weak. Therefore, particles move freely here and there. Random movements are there. Random movements are there. Right? In all the directions they can move. Much space is left among the particles. So, the three states of matter differ. They have different characteristics based on the difference in the arrangement of the particles or the organization of particles. මෙන්න මේ වෙනස නිසා තමයි ඒගොල්ලන්ට එක එක characteristics ඇවිල්ලා තියෙන්නේ. හරි නේද? Complete the gases as well. ඉවරද? හරි. දැන් ඔයගලන්ට පේනවා දැන් මොනවද අද අපි ඉගෙන ගත්තේ? We learned that the matter is made out of particles. There are 3 states of matter. So all these 3 states are made out of particles. Right? We called it as the particulate nature of matter. Then there were spaces among the particles. Right? That was known as the discontinuous nature of matter. Right? Then we presented activities for the to show the discontinuous nature of all 3 states of matter. Then after that we discussed the 3 states of matter have different characteristics. Those different characteristics are due to the difference in the organization of particles in the 3 states of matter. That's what we learned today. Right? Next we can learn about we can compare the characteristics of the 3 states of matter. Right? Let's do it on Saturday, right? So our next session is on Saturday, 21st, right? And you are having another session. Yes, that's all. The next session is on 21st and before 28th. For 28th Saturday, you are having another session on the 24th, right? I have shared in the group, right? Accordingly, please join the sessions. Then other product attendance අඩුයි. හැබැයි මම රෙකෝඩින් එක අදම ෂෙයා කරනවා. එතකොට ඒවා ආපු අයට කියලා වැඩක් නැහැ. ආයි නැති අයට අනිවාර්යෙන් රෙකෝඩින්ග්ස් බලලා කම්ප්ලීට් කරගන්න වෙනවා. හරි. එhmenan we'll stop there for today, but please study the things that we have done up to now. So this is the, as I told, this is the last lesson for the first term. හරි නේද? So you will be having the written assessment on the 28th. Okay? Hari. And I'll see you on Saturday at the usual time. Stay safe and have a nice day. Okay, bye.